You're listening to a Benstown and McVeigh Media Podcast Network production. Run It Again is an inside look at the players, the coaches, and the business of sports with former NFL star and broadcaster Ron Pitts.
And 2 minutes later, I was back in the same Oklahoma drill that I got the concussion from.
And the mastermind behind the greatest show on turf, Coach Mike Martz.
And we want to force him into a vanilla defense and go to work.
Run It Again is a hard-hitting, no BS podcast that connects you directly to the source. This is Run It Again.
Let's jump right into it. Crazy week of playoff football in the NFL. Yeah. And let's just start with Cincinnati, Tennessee. Wow. Okay, so Tennessee is a number 1 seed, and you knew this was like that scary movie where someone's walking through a dark house and then the music starts playing and you know something bad's about to happen, like they're about to get their head cut off. That's what I felt like as this game started. And then when Tannehill did exactly what I knew he could possibly do, but thought he wouldn't do because there's no way you would do that in a game like this, he did it, and that's throw the interception. And that led to...
Well, before the game, we talked about this game. I just never felt like... That's why I picked Cincinnati. I just felt like if they get out front, they put Tennessee in a position where they're going to play the kind of football they just don't want to play. And then having the running back, having sat down with a broken foot all that time, he's not going to be a factor. We thought he was going to win the game. He's not going to be a factor. He's not that kind of game condition. He's just not ready to play. And then Tannehill having to win the game with a 2-minute offense or throwing the ball, he's just not good enough. He's just not who he is. Playing from a lead and running the ball and playing great defense, he's that kind of quarterback, and he's probably good enough. But he's average at best, and in those kind of games, those kind of guys disappear. But the receiver and the quarterback for the Bengals, that combination is hot, and I don't know what you do to stop it. That combination of a quarterback and receiver combination, to me, I don't know quite when I've seen it where they're both that good, and regardless of the coverage, you're gonna have their plays.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me finish up on Tennessee here, and just a couple other points that I want you to jump into before we go to Joe Burrow and the red hot Cincinnati Bengals. It wasn't just the interceptions. It's almost like he was trying to throw them on schedule. He threw the first play of the game, which is like, my gosh. And you can see
but here's the thing about that interception. Yeah. I don't fault him on that interception. What they did defensively, I've never seen anybody do before. They played the curl with the free safety. Who does that?
Now, they dropped him down.
Yeah, but he came down. There's nobody in the middle of the field. Now he stood there and looked at him for a while, but they did their homework on him.
Right.
They did their homework on him. It's not a complicated passing game. So they've got some tendency, and when an average quarterback has tendencies, it's going to be hard.
Yeah,
I think he did what he's supposed to do in that throw. I just think they made a hell of a play on defense.
Yeah, he had a bomb he missed to A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Then threw another one and one in the game. Then let me go to Joe Burrow here in Cincinnati. 9 sacks given up. That's a lot of sacks. But they brought the game back, and he didn't throw the interception. He didn't make the big mistake. And I think that was the key. They were able to get points on just about every drive. The first 2 drives, I believe, maybe 3, they got 3 points. So that's big on the road.
Yeah, sacks are devastating. I thought I was looking at the Chicago offensive line again when I was there. That's that was routine for us every week, 9 sacks.
You said it was routine. That's funny.
Cutler, he saved him. But no, I think that those 9 sacks, like you had mentioned before, Ron, the fact that he didn't do anything stupid with the ball is a big plus. He took the sack. Yeah. He didn't try and force a throw in. And half the time they overcame the sack. They got the first down anyway. Yeah. And that's patience. That's a good offensive coordinator. That's a well-disciplined football team.
And the one interception, I don't know if it was his fault. The receiver had the ball and bobbled it up. Yeah, right.
Yeah, what happened is he never came back. I agree with you 100%. He's pretty flawless right now at quarterback. Now, do they have enough juice to beat Kansas City? Probably not, but they're playing pretty good.
Yeah. So you got the quarterback and then the receiver, Jamar Chase. And they tried, as they say now, this is a new buzzword. They tried to put a roof on him, meaning don't give him a deep ball, which they did a pretty good job of. But I thought the play calling was good and interesting in the sense they said, okay, you're not going to give us this, so let me just get the ball in his hands. Then they start throwing quick screens to him and quick stuff. And that made so much sense.
Yeah, he breaks one out there for 45 or just on a little stop route. But that's
right.
That's what you do. He's so electric. He's got so much speed and acceleration. He makes guys miss. You just give him the ball and see what he can do with it, and that's why he'll make his plays regardless of the coverage. You just get him the football, get him a reverse or two, throw him a drag route. He's going to make guys miss and make more of a play than should be.
Yeah. Now, you brought this point up as we were watching the game. We were texting each other. Cincinnati went to a 5-man line going against Henry, and that was interesting. A bare front, which is an 8-man front, but I saw 5 down linemen at one point, and they were just going to make sure that he didn't get on track.
Yeah, they actually were in a real live bear. The safety wasn't inside; he was kind of outside, but it was a regular bare front. And for those who don't know, bare front is really designed. It's a Buddy Ryan front from Chicago back in '85 to stop the run, where both guards are covered, the center's covered. You got 2-3 techniques, and you get 2 guys outside, and it's pretty tough sledding if you run the ball against a bare front because there's always a guy free at the point.
Mike, what's the key to running it against that front?
Well, you need to get out of 2 backs. You need to split people out and force them into what we used to call a cub front, where you get some of the backers or safeties out of there. You end up running, you're going to end up turning somebody on the backside loose for sure. So power, we used to run power into it and just try to stay front side with the ball. But it's just a iffy proposition at best.
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're always looking to try to get 6 or less in the box. 6 or less. The rule is you can run at it, and 6 or more, don't try to run at it. Do something else.
That's today's football. I never believed in. I still don't, because they check into the best play, and most of the time the best play doesn't work. We used to call a run. We make sure that we could block it against everything, even though some of the fronts weren't the best. But that way, when we got up there, they called out their blocking assignments. They were sure of it, and we played fast, and there weren't any mistakes. When you start checking runs, guys are looking around, making calls, and I think it puts linemen on their heels. I like to call a run, get up and go,
Yeah. Burrow is incredibly accurate. He came into that game 70% completion. That was number 1 in the NFL, and finished the regular season with that completion percentage. Very calm, very cool. They say, okay, this is the kid who won the national championship game, and we want to bring that attitude, that moxie, that skill set. And I think now you're starting to see it. So let's see what he can do next week against Kansas City.
There's a story behind this that we should talk about at some point. Cincinnati's changed how they do business.
Yeah.
Up front in personnel, Mike Brown, and that whole thing has changed how they get
I see what
personnel.
you're saying. Yeah. In the front office on down. No, you're right.
They went out and got a whole bunch of free agents, which they never do.
Yeah.
They went in and got a bunch of free agents to fill some holes for them. They drafted really well, which they really do draft pretty well most of the time. But the coaches were also the personnel guys in the road. They've changed all that, and they phased out the way the Browns had done things for 30 years, and they're really kind of updated things, and it's really paid off.
Yeah. So again, this offensive line now, they gave up 9 sacks. And I asked Jackie about the offensive line, and I said, are they really as bad as those 9 sacks would indicate? He said, yeah, they're not good. And I'm looking at what they have here. They've got 3 free agents, a 6th-round pick, and 1 first-round pick, Jonah Williams, the left tackle. Now, Mike, does any of that mean anything?
Means a lot. That's what we had in Chicago. When I was in Chicago, we went to NFC Championship game. We had nothing but free agents in 5th or 6th round. We had guys that nobody wanted. And 2 years after that, they were all out of the league. And that'll happen there too at Cincinnati. They've spent all this time creating, getting people in on defense and drafting the receiver, the quarterback, et cetera. They'll have to address this in the offseason, because now that they have some real talent on that football team, the thing that's going to ice it for them is to get a real substantial offensive line in there.
Well, how have they been able to?
That'll cost them too.
That'll cost them. Yeah. And just before I move on, our producer Roy Hamilton just dropped me a note here, which was excellent, about Lee Steinberg. When we had Lee Steinberg on, he went into detail about front offices around the NFL, and he mentioned the Bengals as one of those front offices that, that need to change, and we're changing. And I think we're starting to see that here with the
they
record.
changed. Yeah, Mike doesn't run it like he did before. I think
yeah.
So another family member's in there, and they've changed the GM. Now has got more control, and they run it like the rest of the league for the most part, which they'd never had in the past, and it's paying off. But to your point, that offensive line's not very good. And what'll happen now against Kansas City when they line up with all the stuff that Spags does up front, here, and they can't block them, and they're not really doing much anything.
Oh man!
When Spags gets a hold of them, Joe Burrow. Hopefully he's in one piece by the end of that game.
You could see the Tennessee defense. I thought they were going to keep him in it, and they did keep him in it for a while, but just offensively they couldn't handle the turnovers. How has Cincinnati survived all year long with this line?
Defensively, they're pretty good, Ron. Defensively, they've kept the offense within reach no matter what, so that Chase and Burrow can do their thing at the end. Mixon, gives them help in the offensive line because they can rush the football. He's a real good back. But defensively, they're solid. And that's what in the offseason, they went in the offseason and picked up some talent there, and they do a good job on defense. I think they're pretty good.
Yeah. And, Derrick Henry, so whenever a guy is hurt for a long time and then he's going to come back, my inclination is, well, how well will he come back? You can't just jump back on the field and be like you were when you left the field.
Not as a running back.
Not as a running back.
Not as a running back. Now, you can do that in the offensive line. You can do it in the defensive line, linebacker.
You can't do it out in the sun. Yeah, no.
Corner not.
Right.
Wide receiver, not really.
Yeah, maybe tight end is one of those positions.
Yeah, but you just cannot do that in that position at running back. You just can't. They're always nicked, but when it's a wheel, that's different.
Yeah. And when it's a leg, something you got to push on.
Yeah.
Right. Did you have any problem with that 4th and goal play? They got slammed. They went to Henry on the right side, and the backer blitzed off the left side and chased it down.
Well, see, when you do those things on a must score, we just call those must score from the 1 or 2 yard line.
Yeah. You
have to cover all avenues. Will they bring what we call goal line crash, right? You probably call it the same thing. Crash, you bring the corners off the edges, or back or whatever you have out there. You have to, and those, they're going to sell out, and you have to predict that. So you got to account for that. So what we would do is double bump that somehow. But, it surprised me that that's what they did. Yes, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, the run itself was fine, but you got to account for that guy coming off the back edge.
Wow. Sometimes seedings don't mean a thing. And I've always felt like this with the playoffs. As we saw this weekend, a lot of high seeds going down. Once you get in the playoffs, it's not about the best team. It's about who's playing the best.
See, that's exactly the point that we talk to our team every year. When we were real good at the Rams, you felt like you talked to them about winning Super Bowls, et cetera. But as our talent diminished and they traded a lot of our guys away, we just get in, and make it happen, because it's a whole new season. Once you get in, then everybody's the same. Everybody has the same shot at it. It's just San Francisco story right there. And who's to say San Francisco doesn't win it all this year?
Right. And we're going to, oh man, I can't wait to tee you up on that one. And our coaches, that's funny you say that, because I remember our coaches saying that to us, guys, just let's survive this and get to the play, just get in. And, as a 23, 24-year-old kid, you're going through 16 games for the first time, Mike. It's like, hell, I just want to get home at this point.
Well, it's understandable. We were 6-8 one year. We were 6-8.
Yeah.
And we told the guys, look, we've got the Jets and Philadelphia, who both went into the playoffs that year. There's a remaining game, get 2 games. And we just said, look, we beat these 2 teams, we're in. Yeah. It doesn't make any difference at that point if we won 14 games, we're in.
Yeah.
And just like it's like we're playing with house money. Then the guy said, yeah, all right. Well, we beat both teams and got in. We went on and beat Seattle. All you got to do is just get in, and it's a whole different mindset. monkey's off your back, so to speak. And once you're in, by then you've got some guys back, etc. And
Anything can happen.
Different than that. Anything can happen. The
Yeah.
Giants proved it years ago when they went as a, way back when they won it, and they weren't even 500 to midseason.
Who's that? Jacksonville? You think?
No, the Giants.
The Giants. Oh yeah, came in as a wild card. Yeah,
Manning's first year there, and they're getting ready to fire him. They're going to fire him after that game, and all of a sudden, second half, he throws 4 touchdowns or something. They stay with him. They win the Super Bowl.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's how that stuff works, man. Yeah,
you can't write the script. You cannot write the script.
You can't write any of that stuff. No, not that I didn't want to win a Super Bowl and go to the championship and all that stuff, of course. But you couldn't see that light in that tunnel.
No, and that's
especially when you're struck. Think about how many teams were struggling late.
Yes, and that's
the deal.
That's a coach's responsibility is to make that very clear to you. As bad as you feel, as banged up, and as bad as our record is right now, guess what? We got a chance, buddy. And we get in. Once we get in, those teams that are in, who cares what your record is? It doesn't make any difference.
Doesn't matter. Oh, boy.
And that's where the 49ers are right now. And I don't know if anybody's playing any better than them right now,
Yeah, yeah. Well, so Tennessee is out. Cincinnati is going to play Kansas City. So let's go to that game. And let me tell you, there's every year there's a couple teams that I wish still stayed in the playoff picture because they're so fun to watch. Last year, that team for me was Indianapolis. Yeah. They went up to Buffalo, got beat early, and they were one and done out. Okay, this year for me, I think it's Buffalo. And
I have real anger issues over this game. I have some real anger issues over this game.
You got some
real anger. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Julie heard words from me that she's never heard before.
Go.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the fourth quarter, and here Dabo, the offensive coordinator at Buffalo, they decide they're going to become a running team in the fourth quarter. What? They were handing the ball off 1, 2, 3, and then punt 1, 2, 3, and they didn't throw a pass. I mean, you're trying to get into the Super Bowl, buddy. You got this great quarterback, these receivers, and what are you trying to prove by running the football? You've got to keep pace with these guys. I don't give a shit about the stats. Well, you should have run baloney. That's what you do. Go do it, And then all those quarterback sweeps are, come on, man. He's going to get that just on a regular play basis. Get the ball down to Diggs and those guys and let them play like they did. And what's the receiver's name that caught the 3 of them touchdowns in the
Gabriel Davis.
So you got Davis and Diggs down there, and you're handing the ball off to Singletary. What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
What's the matter with you? Come on, man. Bad. You got to keep pace with these guys. And I don't know where they thought they were trying to slow the clock down or what, but that doesn't work. No. Slowing the clock down against those guys, you have to keep pace with them. And whoever stubs their toe and goes 3 and out, you're going to lose a game. They kept going 3 and out, 3 and out.
Yeah.
And miraculously, because they didn't slow Kansas City down.
Kansas City is starting.
I think they had 1 3 and out in the second half. They didn't slow them down, man.
No.
So then we get to the end of the game, of course, with a minute to go or so, and they're in 2-man. What's the matter with you? You're in 2-man. Those safeties, and they played 2 deep most of the game. So in other words, you've got 9 guys against 11. That's what you're saying. 9 against 11 up front. That's why they kept giving it to Edwards and throwing the ball underneath, etc. And they're playing 2-man. You can't run with Hill. You can't run with those wide receivers, man. And the 2 safeties on that touchdown where he breaks it and takes it, Hill takes it. The safeties had cutoff angles at him, and they still couldn't.
No.
So I just and then the Kelsey, who's going to cover him one-on-one? Come on, give me a break, man.
No.
How can you? And you're the best defense in the league, and that's the best you can do is come up and play 2-man.
They didn't look like the best defense in the NFL, and they were number 1 in about 8 different categories. But the final 5 minutes of that game, they didn't look like that at all. And let's just go right here to the last couple plays as Mahomes is coming down the field, 13 seconds left. They backed off. They completely backed off.
It was as if they didn't think they had a timeout. Okay, he'll catch it, and they'll have to spike it. No, they got timeouts, dude. What are you doing?
No, I counted 2 timeouts, and it looked like Mike. It looked like the Bills were playing. Yeah, it looked like they thought that Kansas City had to score a touchdown. instead of just needing a field goal.
Or that they didn't have any timeouts. I don't know. I don't know what the coordinator was thinking.
I don't.
Because you let them catch it and then clock's going, no, they're going to call timeout, man. You got to challenge them or blitz them. You got to make something happen. But to stand back on your heels 10 yards deep and let them have that, I can't. It just made me sick to my stomach. I got so angry at that. And Kansas City, Andy's a great man. They're a great team. God bless them. Happy for them that they won.
Yeah.
But to lose a game like that, to me, that you lost that game. And I hate saying this, I'm a choke on these words, but you lost it on coaching here. You really did.
Well, I think that was clear.
To come out in the second half and go like 3 series and try and give Singletary the ball and what's the matter with you? That's the best you got? Either that or Dabo's in between plays is calling guys to get him together for his new staff on his Giants job or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Now let's go back to the right before the kickoff there. 13 seconds left. The talk has been, do you squib it, run some time off the clock? Do you just kick it out of the end zone like they do? What would you have done?
That happened to me. My last year, right before I got sick, we're playing the Chargers at our place. It's identical. We got 19 seconds, though, instead of 13 seconds. And our kicker had kicked the ball out of the end zone every snap, every time on the kickoff. They never had a return. And our special team coach in all of his glory decided he was going to squib it.
Okay.
Which they didn't. Dan practiced.
That's not good.
And I just assume he's going to kick it out of the end zone. I look up and the ball squibbed down, and he misses the ball. They get the ball in the 45.
Wait a minute. He misses. Did he
kick it out of bounds? When he just hit the top of it, he didn't kick it hard enough. So it bounced around, and they got the ball and ran it up to about the 45-yard line, their own 45.
Now, let me ask you this, Mike. Let me ask you this. The clock doesn't start until it's touched. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not going to start until it's touched. Now,
the reason the squib is it takes away a return.
It takes away a return.
Yeah.
But how? So let's say an offensive player fields it cleanly 40 yards down the field. Can he take a knee and then automatically the play is dead? Will the officials give him that? It's not like a fair catch. I can fair catch it. Now it's automatically dead.
Yeah, it's a change of possession.
Yeah, but
on the change of possession, the clock stops. Yeah.
But on a squib kick, and that ball's hit the ground, if I field it and then just take a knee and look at the official, will he stop the play then?
Yeah, it's a change of possession.
Okay, so all right, so then maybe that's a reason you don't squib it right there because you don't run any time off the clock either way.
Exactly, and what you're doing, he just didn't want the return. Well, if you don't want to return, we've kicked it out of the end zone.
Put it out.
Well, I was going to fire him at the end of the season. I got sick, but I would tell you who it was. But I said, what were you thinking? Why didn't you ask me?
Ask. No, that has to be a staff discussion. Right.
You know what he said to me? He said, that's what you do in those situations. Well, Buffalo kicked it out of the end zone. That wasn't the worst thing. So, they got to go 80 or 75, whatever it is. They got to go the distance. Yeah. Okay. So fine. That's cool. But when I looked up and I saw everyone back and I see Tyreek Hill, Kittle, and then maybe it's Mecole Hardman, that's enough to stop your heart there. No one's jamming them. No one's on them. Nothing. Just free. I think they threw the ball to Hill or threw the ball to Hill. He took off and it looked like they ran a screen. You got Kelsey in front, the other receiver in front, and here's Hill running. I was like, oh my, he ripped off maybe 25 yards right there. Ball's automatically over the 50. Then the next play, they hit Kelsey on a little bend in, same thing. Corner was closer, but he's about 8-9 yards out. It was unbelievable. Nobody was challenged, and they rushed forward, which made no sense to me. Rush 2 or 3 and getting coverage, man.
Yeah,
make it hard for him to spy on the quarterback and make him run around and burn the clock.
Oh man.
See, that's the other thing. At that point, the quarterback could not break out and run around because he's going to use up the clock.
Right.
So the biggest thing is you don't have to worry about that. So rush 2 if you have to and spy the nose. But drop everybody and take away those throws and play a tight zone on them,
And in that situation, I always believe you've got to reroute someone. You can still get your depth and do that, but you can't allow free releases and timing to stay on.
So what happens, they're in a prevent defense, and I told our coaches, when I had the opportunity to be a head coach. I said, listen, from here on out, and with Lovey, I said, the only thing prevent defense has ever done is prevented us from winning. No more prevent defense. We're just going to play defense. That's what got us there. So just play defense, and just if you want to loosen up some of the corners a little bit, that's fine. But don't back them away and let them catch the ball and do all that stuff. Play regular defense, because they couldn't get a first down up to now. Now you're going to let them go right down the field.
13 seconds. I mean, this
game and the end of that game will be talked about forever.
I don't know if Buffalo is going to recover from that one. That quarterback, Josh Allen, played well enough to go to a Super Bowl, in my estimation. I saw him do things, Mike, that were like, okay, this guy,
so
I know he's for real, but now he's really
so cool. Those throws that he make, I mean, everybody talks about his running ability and this and that, and they were making run plays for him, which is the dumbest thing I've ever. The guy is a real live great passer. Yeah. As he proved. So why weren't you throwing those throws earlier in the fourth quarter, right? And instead of handing the ball to Singletary. So I sound like a fan now, but
that's right.
The longer I'm out of it, you just know enough football to know that, it's always going to get you beat.
Yeah. And I thought Mahomes and this offense looked better than they've looked in a long time. I mean, they look in stride, really darn good now.
That's the best he's looked this year. This is the best he's looked in 2 years.
Yeah. I think if you're asking me about my Super Bowl pick for the AFC side, I'm going Kansas City. They just
a week ago I think I said Buffalo and the Packers are going to be in the Super Bowl. Yeah, so much for that, right?
But it's so weird though, Mike, because this has been an anomaly postseason. Everything that was supposed to happen didn't happen, and things that are highly unusual happen. I mean, we'll get to these other games here, and let's just move on. Let's
how would you like to be the Packers?
Okay, let's go to that one. And where do I start? It's a dream start for Green Bay. Everything's going the way they want it to go. It's nice and cold. You got Rodgers, you're on the board first. But then I looked up at halftime and I said, why is it only 7-0? And I know
they dominated them. They dominated them too. And they went down, they missed the field goal, I think. And their second series, there was a penalty or something that stopped a big gain, and they didn't get a first down after that. Yeah. And it was one of those eerie games where you should win this thing, you should dominate this team, and you just nothing's happening.
You could see that feeling or feel that feeling of
Julie made a comment during the game that I thought was interesting. She said the guys in San Francisco look like they're more used to the cold weather than the Packers.
Interesting. That's a great observation. Yeah.
And
like remember
energy and they're
excited. Oh, well, that's what right. I thought Green Bay started out with the energy, but then the score was low. And then San Francisco did what they've been doing to everybody they've played this year, especially the Rams. And all of a sudden the energy picked up. And then the score changes, and then they have the special teams surge or meltdown for the Packers. I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen that big of a meltdown.
So it's a 10-point swing. So you take 10 points off. They have 3 points. They don't score offensive touchdown, and the Packers, let's say they make the field goal and the punt's okay. They probably win that thing by 10 points. Well, but I lost a Super Bowl like that too. I know exactly how it feels.
On the was it a block?
No, we had the 3 turnovers and
the turnovers. Yeah,
it was 17. We just couldn't. We were moving the football. Things were fine, and but then we turned the ball over in inopportune times, and it just seems like we just could never. Something would always happen that get us out of it.
Yeah, and it came at times when Green Bay was about to move.
Yes,
they just hit a 3rd and 3 big play, 75-yarder to Aaron Jones, and they're going to line up for the field goal there, and it gets blocked.
Yeah,
and that seemed to start a waterfall of just disaster.
How you block a field goal? Those guys, somebody up front goes to sleep on it.
Well, yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, somebody inside there, one of the
they step and everybody just kind of steps, and defense kind of does the same thing.
Yeah,
well, somebody went hard, and
No, the guy, in between the wing and the tackle there, somebody that screwed up, didn't block down or didn't stab out.
That's the wing. I played that position. That's the wing. Wing's got to jab and then pivot and bump the outside guy.
Yeah, it's routine. But this is what's been on Green Bay's docket for a long time. They've had poor special teams, rated last in the NFL all year long.
So going into this game, he said that. He said, "I hope our special teams don't get us beat in this game."
Huh. Wow, he brought
Who's
that
the
out.
special teams coordinator?
Well, there's 3 of them, Mike. There's 3 of them. That's problem
probably
number
the
1.
problem. Yeah.
Yeah. See, so they knew they had a problem. I don't know why you let it go that long, though. Why do you have to have 3? Well, you probably didn't have 1, so then you did it by committee because you knew you were in trouble, and then Aaron Rodgers in the offense.
So I've
covered it up for a while.
I have a question about this game. So does he stay there? Does he retire? Does he leave?
Wow, that is the question. I don't know. I don't see how. I don't see. Boy, and Aaron's talking a lot. Aaron's talking more and more, about off the field stuff. But his season's over anyway. And here's one: minus 14 yards passing for San Francisco at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
But Garoppolo hangs in there. Kittle hangs in there. Deebo Samuel's the heart and soul of this team. And they've just got some guys that are ballers. I know they're banged up now. I don't know what's going to happen with the Rams.
Would you still didn't answer my question about the quarterback?
I don't know, Mike. I don't know. I don't see how he could stay there. But where does he go? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he stays there. He's not going to find a situation better for him than right there.
That's probably true.
See that, when Brady left, he found a coach that he could, believe in and would let him do his thing, so to speak. And they had good talent. I don't know where that is for him other than the 49ers. Now, that would be a natural because that's where he's from, the Bay Area.
Okay, but you know what's unnatural about that? 49ers are going to get rid of a guy that does nothing but beat the division rival that's about to probably go to the Super Bowl.
It doesn't make any sense, I know, but they're still trying to get rid of Garoppolo.
Oh my!
Just don't like him. They just don't like him. They just don't like him. Okay,
so okay, well let's talk about this game now. So here come. Well, let me finish the games off and then we'll come back to the matchup. So Tampa Bay and the Rams in Los Angeles. Yeah, I was ready to turn TV off, 27-3 there, late in the third or early fourth, whatever you want to call it. And then 2 plays. The bomb over Jalen Ramsey to Mike Evans, and then the fumble by Cam Akers ties the game up. And then at the end, you want to talk about poor secondary coverage or decisions and coaching or whatever you want to call it. They line up and they go blitz coverage and they put Winfield on Kupp, but Winfield is playing like an outside leverage and he's clearly getting run by, but he's still looking in the backfield. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Well, their coach would do that though,
Oh my gosh.
I've heard defense coaches say this, and it kind of wince as an offensive guy, but they brought the house. They brought everybody. So there's no safety. There was a full on blitz. They brought everybody,
which didn't get there. Yeah.
Didn't get there. So he's in the gun and he backs up and buys enough time. And what happens is, and you can see it on tape, on those blitzes, they are coached to stay right on top of them. Don't take an edge. Stay right on top of them and shuffle, see the quarterback, and then drive the ball because he's not going to throw it deep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he's not going to.
That.
He doesn't have the time to get the ball.
Yeah.
We played Seattle in way back when, and I think it was 04, and we had a similar situation. They brought the ranch, and we threw the inside receiver the same thing for a 50-yard touchdown overtime to win the game. They brought everybody. And so what happens is on tape, when you see the safeties level like that, not back up, You just tell the quarterback, feel the pressure and move away from it by as much time as you can and just let it fly. That's what he did.
Yeah. Those are like a couple of the best lies that you've ever been told in your life. You think about what they are, oh, the taxes won't be that bad. That's another lie. Oh no, this should be fine. I don't see anything going wrong here.
And it's not that cold out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that cold out. Yeah, those are like those series of 10 best lies you've always told. And one of them for me is, don't worry about it. No, the pressure should get there.
They'll get there.
No, you skate from 6 yards back, looking inside out, with no help inside. Don't worry about that. The pressure will get there. Don't believe that. Any of you young guys out there playing corner DB, don't ever believe it. You better protect yourself. You better take away his easiest throw and make him make the hardest throw. That's the best advice I can give.
They would have been better off to press the inside guy and just and really jam him up really good and not let him off the ball.
That's what. Yeah, they'd have been better off just playing two man.
But in all honesty, that was a great play by the Rams. It was a great play by the quarterback, and he needed that play to really kind of solidify who he is now, where he's in the organization.
Yeah,
he had to have a play like that.
Yeah,
to say, okay, yeah, he is the guy. Because he's, the last 2 times they played the 49ers, he was why they lost, really.
That's right.
Sixes and whatnot, and he's been throwing a pick six almost every week.
Yeah.
Now he's cleaned it up in the last few weeks. He's playing at a high level, and he buys time and makes it. And it was an incredible throw falling back.
Yeah, and he put air under it, which made sense to me because Winfield had no inside leverage. All he had to do was just put it up. I mean, that's a smart throw.
Just run to the ball.
Yeah, run to the ball and let Cooper Kupp go get it. But that's what
from
happens.
A defensive, but that's what they're taught to do. Like, 6 yards, sit on it, see the quarterback's eyes. As soon as he looks your way, jump it. He looks your way and he's not running a route. He's taking off. You're in trouble.
Nah, you can't. You see that's those are those little things. Those are the difference between the guys that are in the league still playing and the guys that are, working on other jobs. You got to know when to be an athlete, and you got to use your instincts too, man. You sit back there and get punched out like that. There's no way I'd do it.
Yeah.
Now, can the Rams survive 4 turnovers though, and still move on? Like, they had 4 turnovers last week.
It was a -3. So because they got a turnover. So
yeah, they
had 3 turnovers, but they were so far ahead on most of them. The 2 fumbles are 14-point swings. It's a 14-point swing. Akers fumbles on the one going in. That's 7. And then he fumbles on his own 25 or whatever that was.
Coming out.
And they take in. So that's for a 14-point swing. If they don't fumble, it's a laugher. They put it away and everybody's happy.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful because they played exceptional defense. It's the best defense that they've played since I've been watching.
I'll give you that one now. Yeah, no, without question. Now everybody looks like they're dialed in now.
They were different. They ran overloads. They ran TTTs, TETs. All the
stunts up front in the D line.
Yeah, they let their front guys play, and they're coming free. And the quarterback, Brady. Plus, they did a phenomenal job with the coverages of confusing Brady. Brady was trying to get Evans over here on one-on-one route. He thought he had a one-on-one. The safety flies out of there, takes it away, and they end up taking a sack.
Yeah, that's right.
They did a great job there defensively of shutting him down and handling that whole thing.
Yeah, and I thought the left tackle position held up. They didn't have Whitworth, but Noteboom came in there. And I don't look at Noteboom as, okay, it's a backup now. No, he's played enough this year. I think he's ready to slide into that role when
he needs to. I think he needs to start there right now. And then if he needs to get spelled by Whitworth is done. He's on one leg right now. He can't move anymore. He just, the gas in the tank there is empty. Yeah, let the youngster come in and play.
Yeah, that's right. So let's talk about the championship games now. Well, again, I got to ask this question. Since we're talking about Rodgers, what's Brady going to do? Is he done?
Yeah, I think he's done. When I watched him and he's yelling at the officials, there's a certain amount of frustration there that when you see a guy be that frustrated, it just, the receivers, he just was frustrated.
I thought that was a distracted team going in. I'm surprised they got even, to your point, that close. You got, you had the whole AB thing, Antonio Brown, a couple weeks ago. The talk about Brady all week long resurfaced, being his last game. They had some injuries. Had a guy get arrested. They seem like a distracted team. Oh, and then we didn't talk about this. Arians, I don't know how it happened, but a player did something dumb and he swiped him across the head. Yeah, okay. That stuff can happen. I haven't seen too many NFL coaches swing at guys on the field.
Oh, he didn't swing at him. I saw it on the side. What happened is the defensive back went in, and if you go into the pile, you're going to be thrown out of the game.
I know what he was trying to do.
And so he reached over there and hit and slapped him on the head to get his attention.
I know.
If he was trying to hit him, he'd have hit him. It was a non-issue that became an issue.
I know, because it's the optics of it. That's why.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a bad look. So, but anyway, for them to get that close was probably amazing, considering. Yeah. Oh, and then they had their offensive line messed up. Wirfs on the right side, he couldn't play, which we knew. He got hurt the game before. And then Jensen, the center, who likes to fight and beat everybody up, he was on one leg too.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway. All right. So let's go back to the AFC then. And let's talk about the championship games this week. You got Cincinnati, and Cincinnati is in Kansas City. In Kansas City, like we said, they are rolling. That offense, they don't look like they looked last year. They've gotten their offensive line together enough, and they've got two rookies starting down in there. In big Orlando Brown's son is on the left side, all 6'8" and a half and 350 darn near. So they look like they got better on the offensive line there, Mike.
Well, Buffalo never pressured them. Their front four never came close to pressuring them.
Never. It was not even close.
Which was surprising, but they've really put together an excellent offensive line right now. And that was the issue for them. In the first half of the season, they weren't playing very well. But they've come around. They're playing really well. I think they'll do a great job. I think the biggest issue will be the obvious, and that's Kansas City's defensive front against that offensive line. With Cincinnati. I don't know if Cincinnati can hold up with that.
Yeah. They got Creed Humphrey in there, Trey Smith, the young fellas at center and guard. So, it's always interesting with a rookie center in there, but they or a young center in there. But
so, how does Cincinnati win this game? I think what they'll have to do, Mixon's going to have a great game.
Yeah.
So, he's going to have to rush 20, 25 times. And rush for 130, 150, one of those kind of deals, and then get some big plays with Chase on the outside and keep Kansas City out the field. I think that's the best opportunity for them. Yeah. If they start dropping back every snap, they'll have another 9+ sacks.
Yep, that's right. Yep. And I misspoke there. Let me clear this up. That was Willie Gay, the linebacker for Kansas City that got arrested, not Tampa Bay didn't have a guy arrested. So that was Willie Gay, but they survived it and moved on. And it's going to be nice and loud in Kansas City. Mahomes, to me, looks better than he's looked in a long time, Mike. There's something different there. He's got his swag back. He's
on a mission. Play. When they had the 13 seconds left, they kind of shot his face, and he had that locked jaw, and he was angry. He was an angry bird, as they say. He was
angry. No, that's right. That's what I saw, and I didn't see that last year. I saw a guy trying to navigate around a busted up offense.
Because beginning of the season, he's kind of doing his own thing. We talked about this.
Yeah,
kind of went off on his own, and now he's back in the fold, trying to do it the way they want him to do it. It's funny that we say that, because the look on Brady's face I've never seen before. Most time it's an eye roll kind of a thing. Just oh man, he's just. He's at a level of frustration that to me would get you out of playing now. He's done.
But I have never seen the league allow what happened to him happen. Von Miller launched and hit him with the top of his head underneath his chin. Now, in the day,
that was not an illegal shot.
Oh, wait a minute, come on.
No, it wasn't. No, he hit him with his face mask.
Oh, jeez, I don't know, Mike. Okay.
No, I'm serious, Ron.
Yeah.
Top of his head was right here. How else do you tackle him? You put your face on his numbers, and that's what he did. and it hit his chin right there. That's not a penalty.
But back in the day, you would never even be able to get close like that. Any part
I-
of your helmet touched Brady. It's like, get out of here.
Hockey League was a referee one year, and we had
Man.
we had defensive linemen do that to the quarterback. It ended up costing us the game. He called roughing the passer. I cut it out and I sent it to him, and I saw him 3 weeks later. We had him and said, "You're right. It was a formed tackle, and it was exactly the same thing. His helmet hit right here in the chin, but he wasn't going for his head. He put his face right on his chest. How else are you going to tackle the guy?"
Yeah, well, Mike, you're preaching to the choir. That's what I've been saying for years, but everyone
That's
shoots
why
me
they
down.
didn't. But see, that's why they didn't call it either. It was not an illegal hit.
I wish they were more consistent with their calls, because I've seen them call some things that I know weren't, and they call them anyway.
Yeah, no question.
But well, anyway, hey, Stafford got a chance to kick Ndamukong Suh in the family jewels, so it all evens out.
Yeah,
And they didn't call that either.
The thing I like best about it is Sue was crying like a little baby,
Oh man, yeah, right.
That
Oh boy,
That was the best part of that.
All right, so
Did you see what he
I
did?
oh gosh. Well, we have to see what happens with Tyrann Mathieu, because he went out with a concussion. But we all know that in playoff time, people have miraculous recoveries from concussions, like Nick Bosa did coming into this last game with Green Bay, because he got concussed against the Cowboys, but he came back and played. So, and that that was big. Okay, so let's go. Let me see. We got to go to Rams San Francisco. Well, who do you like in this Kansas City Cincinnati thing? What do you think?
Well, like I said, the only way I think, since he's got a chance, is Mixon's going to have a great day.
Yeah, you think that's it? Yeah.
And if they're going to go in there and keep track with them, they can't, because they're not good in the offensive line. They can throw it and do that stuff, but they can't protect the quarterback well enough to make it a passing game. So
yeah,
they're going to have to mix it in there, and Mixon, they're going to have to run the ball really well. Yeah, that's the only chance they got. If not, if they're going to go in there and try and keep pace with them,
no, I don't think they're going to do it.
Buffalo can. They're good enough, but they're not. Cincinnati's not.
Right, and Buffalo chose not to. Yeah, they chose not to. They decided to switch the game plan.
And that Kansas City defense in the back end is no good.
No, Mike,
they're not any good. We've said that all. They're just not any good. And he's been doing it. The coordinator's been doing it with mirrors and kite string, and he's done a great job.
Yeah. So I see two different types of Bengals secondaries. I see the secondary that showed up this past weekend, which looked pretty good. Then I see the secondary that showed up against the Chargers back there, where the Chargers just threw all over them. And now Herbert's pretty good, and they got some guys that can go there. So I'm not taking anything away from the Chargers, but it just seems like this level of play, in and out, up and down.
So here's the deal. Here's what Buffalo did. They're going to play two deep safeties and not give them those deep crossers that they'd like to throw every week.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, but you give them everything else. And you can't play two men against those receivers.
I wouldn't. Somebody gets beat inside, you're done. Or if they drop the ball off, everyone's back is turned.
But he's so accurate right now. He had guys run stride for stride, and he just stuck it right on him.
Nah, he's playing.
You're asking for, and then if you're putting two men, he'll take off and run for 40.
Yeah.
So that you can't do. But I do think that I'd spy on him and play a lot of coverage and route read the heck out of him.
All right. Rams and 49ers in LA. This is the matchup the league has been wanting for a long time, and they got the team in that they want there. So my question is, what does San Francisco do now, as banged up as they are? Can you really beat someone 3 times in the same year, and that third one being that championship game?
Sure you can. There's no question you can. I don't think they will, but there's no question you can.
Yeah.
They do a great job on defense of taking away what you do.
Yep.
Kind of like Belichick's kind of deal, and they'll come up with something defensively to create problems for them. The best opportunity that they have is to do what they did the first time they played him and just gash him in the running game as much as they can. Because really, when you look at the Rams up front, 3 of the 4 guys up front are way undersized, including Arnold.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
got 255 and 240, and what's Arnold, about 275 or 280?
Yeah. No, he's a smaller.
Yeah. So
guy in there.
so
Yeah.
3 of the 4 guys are way undersized. Reeder, I still haven't seen him make a tackle, but what they'll do is they'll put the blade down on him and run at the edges. For them to be successful, they'll have to run at the edge, run power football at the edge.
Yeah.
I would run the heck out of gap plays at the edge and double team Arnold in the running game as much as you can.
Well, that's what I didn't understand about Tampa Bay's offensive game plan. So they started out, if you can recall, they started out in 3 tight ends, and they started really pounding them. And I said, that's right. Yep. Turn this into a 49er game for the Rams.
Yeah.
And they went down the field, got to about midfield, and then the next 2 throws were incomplete passes, and then they punted, and they were behind the 8 ball until early in the fourth quarter there.
So what 49ers, Chargers used to do this when they played Kansas City, and they used to beat them every year. And it was unbelievable. It was a few years ago now, but they made a deal of just get first downs. You're trying to get 3 to 4 yards a snap. Just get first downs. Just get first downs.
Yeah.
And everything was geared on making it 10 yards and being creative that way in the running game and the passing game, and gobble up the clock, 8-minute drives and kick a field goal or score a touchdown. That's what they'll have to do.
Yeah. Yeah. San Francisco's pretty beat up. Boy, it'd be a different game if they were healthy. But we got to remember too, the last matchup here in LA, the 49ers got down by 17 early. And somehow they came back and they came, I'll tell you, and I know when they came back. I remember the first play that to me marked them coming back. They started really running the ball. First series, they started pounding the ball. And I'm thinking, oh, boy, this is
they got away from this because that's what they did the first time they played them this year. They got away from it. So there's a trend here for the Rams that's not good. So like when they played the 49ers and here this last week, there were lights out in the first half, and then the second half, they're just trying to protect the lead.
I know.
They need to make sure that you got real conservative there in the fourth quarter. And I've always felt like the way you got there, don't get away from it.
Yeah.
Until you get down to 2 minutes. However you got to that lead, you just keep doing it. Don't get away from it, because all of a sudden when you change what you do, you hand the momentum over to them, and then you do stupid things.
I hear that a lot. I think it's harder to do in the game for some people. You were able to do it, but I think a natural tendency is to, okay, now let's not screw this thing up. But in essence, they screw it up by probably getting too conservative.
It's like playing the prevent defense. It doesn't prevent anything.
The prevent.
It's the same thing on offense. You go into a prevent offense is what it is. You start on that 6-minute offense, and that's 4 minutes. A lot of things can happen in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So I never, until we got down to that 2-minute deal where there's no way possession wise they can score, we just continue to do what we do.
Yeah, I do think the Rams are best when they have to go. When they get a lead, that's when they seem to struggle. Throughout the year, I'm thinking of games when they've gotten in trouble. It's been that type of scenario. Yeah.
So I would like to see Cooper Kupp on the outside this week too, because they double him. It's easier to double him inside than it is outside.
Yeah.
But you put him on the outside and Beckham and Jefferson on the other side, you put him one-on-one out there, and which you don't see very often with him.
You don't see that at all. Yeah, he's always inside. Yeah,
they're really hitting their stride on offense. It's just so much fun to watch.
Without question. And the Rams organization has pulled some little trick. They've found a way to keep so they hope the 49er fans from being able to buy tickets, because the last matchup here, I guess it was 50
all red.
Rams.
Yeah, it's all red. So what'd they do? How'd they stop that?
Something about, I don't know the particulars of it. I don't work in the ticket office, albeit, but they, something about area codes, and not area codes, but zip codes, because most of the tickets were bought online. So now they're checking the zip code. And if you don't have the zip code that's in the LA County area, you can't buy the ticket. I don't even know how that's legal. but they figured out
What's
something.
theirs? They can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want. I guess you can just not sell certain fans tickets. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Well, you remember back in the day, the Chargers had to do this because the Raiders came down to San Diego one day, and it was massive fights. I mean, this one particular game, I'm sure it's happened before. One particular game, it was unbelievable. And so the next year, they came with a ticket package. You could no longer buy single season seats. You had to buy a package, and that ended that. Because no Raider fan is going to buy three games to see the Chargers when they only want to see one.
Yeah.
So this will be fun. You know, it'll look like a Laker game here. It'll all the stars will be there. You know,
but I think the Rams, in order to win this thing, they got an issue, and they've got hold up on the defensive front. And they have to continue to do what they did. They went to some odd front there with the 5-down look at times here last week too. They'll have to be creative to protect that defensive line. They're going to have to be creative, and otherwise they'll bang them up. And there's nothing they can do. They're just physically not going to be able to hold up against that. It's really a good offensive line with the 49ers.
Well, yeah, that offensive line's nicked up. Trent Williams, highest paid offensive lineman in the NFL at left tackle. You know, he had his leg wrapped up there in that Green Bay cold. I was joking with somebody that the frigid temperature might have helped ice his ankle while he was playing.
But, you know, when you get hit when it's that cold, you stay hit for a while. You got here, and he got up in the morning, went to get the newspaper and pour a cup of coffee, and the birds are going, and the sun's out, and it's 80 degrees, and those always got better.
Yeah. So he's in there, and then on Lincoln Tomlinson, right next to him. That's another good one. So it'll be interesting. And they got some heat. They got some heat on the outside too, Mike.
Yes,
with Deebo Samuel and Ayuk. Those guys have been a problem in Juwan Jennings. So it's going to be. So
the difference has always been for the Rams how well the quarterback plays. The 2 losses to him, he's thrown pick sixes and just not played well in the beginning, and then he's had to try overcome it. You know, at the end of the game when they got that lead, he didn't play well, and he plays well, then they're really, really good.
Really, yeah. All right, give me your Super Bowl pick. Who goes and who wins?
Well, I think the Rams will win the NFC, and I think it's going to be the Rams versus Kansas City.
And who do you like in that one? Or is it too early to tell?
Yeah, I think they can put pressure on. It's hard to say because they're just so different right now. I'll just hold off on that.
Yeah.
My first reaction is I don't know who's going to beat Kansas City where they're playing, but you know, obviously the Rams can, but they'll have to be different on defense.
Yeah, that seems to be for me the 2 teams that are going to be there right now, the Rams and Kansas City, and I think the league will be happy because those are your 2 firepower offenses. There'll be plenty of offense.
Here's what I know about this though about that game is Kansas City at the back end will get exposed now.
I know.
They'll get exposed. And all that stuff that they do, they'll get exposed because of what that's a bad matchup for Kansas City with those receivers.
Yeah. And their pass rush, I don't know. Sometimes I see the Chiefs pass rush, Mike, and sometimes I don't see it. I don't see pressure.
I'm telling you, they've become a good defense, but it's mirrors, tape, and kite string. They're not good. They do a lot of stuff that confuses guys and get guys free. Yeah. And he should be the coach of the year. Spags. He's done a great job on defense.
Yeah.
They don't have talent over there. They're not a real talented team, and particularly in the back end now. That's why you just go after them.
Yeah. No, that's what I see as well. All right, boy, never a dull moment. That's it, Mike. We got to get out of here.
Okay, Ryan.
Championship games coming up, man. Should be interesting. All right, buddy.
Thanks, Ryan.
We'll talk to you next week. See you.